Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to Two Perfect Podcasts. My name is Yzel.
My name is Renz.
And we're not
Perfect! Two Perfect Podcasts is dedicated to three things.
First, we are dedicated to sharing super personal stories and owning our imperfection.
Second, we want to create a safe space where we can be our most authentic self.
And third, we want to build a community for people like us who are fed up with the pressure of trying to be perfect. And before we get started on today's episode, make sure you like, subscribe, follow. You can find us on YouTube, Two Perfect Podcasts. You can also find us on every podcast streaming platform. And if you want to email us, it's twoperfectpodcasts@gmail.com. Also, if you like the content, make sure you share it with your friends and family. Let's talk. Let's discuss. Discuss. That's a word. And let's have some fun. Today's episode's super special because it is the last episode of our Filipino American History Month segment. So this whole month of October, we've been talking about Filipino American history and just things we want to share and educate the public and ourselves on when it comes to our culture.
Yeah.
Because we are Filipino American, and I'm just super excited and proud and just ecstatic about this month. And yeah, this episode's super special. It's closing out the month of October. So we wanted to do something that kind of tied into the vibes.
Yes.
Because Halloween is coming up. Also today is oops.
We don't know what today is.
Today, was it yesterday? Or was
that
it
was
today?
yesterday because you posted that yesterday.
No. Not Larry Leong Day, but happy Larry Leong Day. But no, it's another one. I don't remember, but we celebrate in the Philippines. Anyways, isn't it?
Are you talking about All Souls Day?
Yes!
No, it's not. It's November 1st.
Then why did I see a post on it yesterday?
Maybe it's just saying, this is what we celebrate. We don't celebrate Halloween. We celebrate All Souls Day. All Souls Day. All Souls Day? I don't know. That's what I always thought because we always celebrated by going to the cemetery on like November 1st. So I always thought it was going to be that. But I did see that post too.
We will look into it later so we can educate ourselves, which obviously is the most exciting person to educate.
Yes.
Me.
Just me.
Just me. If you also know the information, please educate me. Email me at twoperfectpodcasts@gmail.com. Don't even comment below. Just email.
Get straight to the point.
It's like the only thing in the email, by the way. This is All Souls Day. Anyways, today I'm super excited to close out this segment and allow it to coincide with the spooky season, the vibes of this month. We are talking about Filipino superstitions.
Yes.
We talked about it in our last episode, Filipino tattoos, and we did give a little,
like a little sneak view,
yeah,
teaser.
Because we talked about Bone Talk, which is a book by Candy Gourlay. Read it, buy it, get into it, talk about it with us. But yes, it showcased in the book superstitions, or what we perceive now to be superstitions. It was religion.
Yes.
In that time. So, Renz, why do you want to talk about this topic?
Because I think it's important to shed light, as you were saying, you know. It wasn't just superstition. It just wasn't things that we made up out of nowhere. It is actually stemming from beliefs from the past, from our ancestors. So it's always good to reconnect to that.
Because at the end of the day, you are not here without your ancestors. So you got to give them all the glory. You got to give them the praise, the glory, the acknowledgement.
Yes.
And a lot of our beliefs still carry. Now, we did talk about in the last episode that some of these superstitious beliefs have been cast aside because of the westernization, the colonization, Catholicism, just imperialism, just how the Philippines was colonized, so a lot of the beliefs that we did have, that's why we consider them now superstitions. It's because it doesn't work well with Western beliefs. Exactly. It doesn't work well with Catholicism. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think it just got pushed to the side. And I think on top of that, most of the things that we believed in back in the day wasn't necessarily like transcribed. They weren't like documented. It was stories.
On their bodies.
It was on their bodies until like, you know,
tattoos.
We talked about it on our last episode. Yeah. That was also kind of like pushed aside.
Exactly.
So that's why it
Maybe
became
that's
superstition.
why they were doing it.
Ooh, to disconnect us from
our beliefs and our stories. How did I not realize that? That's why they were doing it. They were like, you can't do that. And they knew if we didn't, then how would we record our, you know,
our knowledge, our belief system. So that's a way to shut that off, to like quickly cut them off of their spiritual beliefs and replace it with a new religion. Wow.
I'm calling it. I'm calling it. I think that's what it was about. But anyways,
definitely.
You're
saying. I lost it, but I think it's probably just in that light of like, you know, us, it's just story based usually, other than like the tattoo stuff. But since that got all pushed to the side, it became just like word of mouth. It just kept getting passed over. So it kind of felt like it's a superstition at this point. I think that's where I was going with that.
But although we do acknowledge, or we call them superstition, we still believe in them. It's just deeply ingrained in us. Some of them, I know we were talking about it earlier, how your mom, she follows these superstitions.
Exactly.
But there's not necessarily a why anymore.
Yeah.
It's just, no, this is just
what it was. It's always what has been.
Yeah.
Is how she would always like say it to me. So I was just like, and me as her kid also accepted it as a fact. I didn't even question her.
Yeah.
Because that's a thing you don't do. You don't question your elders. They just know facts.
They know what's up.
Yeah.
So
interesting. So let's dive in. What are some superstitions? You want me to start?
Okay. Actually,
more
to add, just to give a little bit more depth into some of these superstitions, this is the way people navigated their lives in the past. So these were beliefs that they held closely and that they really thought following this will allow us to live. Period.
Yeah, to survive. This is the way to survive.
They took a lot of like signs and prescribed some sort of meaning to the signs from the gods. And so the things we're talking about, like now, they might sound kind of funny or like, you know, just interesting. Yeah. But back then it was like, this is the truth.
This is the truth. Like, it's not for facts. Laughs. It's not for shits and giggles.
It's not facts. It's truth.
It's truth. It's truth today.
Yeah. So, okay, go for it. Tell us what kind of superstitions you got.
Yeah. So one of the things I came across, and as a Filipino, this is like something that we all participated in, or at least like, you know, when I was in the Philippines, everyone knew this. And then it's when you go to someone's house and you say tao po, which means people, like you're just asking for people. That's what it translates to.
Because tao means like person, people,
Yeah. And po is just to make it formal, respectful. And I always thought that was to ask, like, oh, who's home? Is someone home? So please let me in. But in my research, I actually found out that it actually originated from making sure that the person you are entering the house of is a person and not a creature or some sort of deity that you might like get in harm's way. So that like really blew my mind.
When you told me that, I was like, what? Because I say that even when I go to your house, I'm like, Talbo. Like, it's just so ingrained, and it is it sounds very polite.
Yeah.
But
like, it's just us trying to carry our culture, but you didn't really understand where it stemmed from.
Yep.
But
there's a
that's what it
meaning.
is. It's us believing that there's more to life than just people and animals. There's higher beings, multiple higher beings that are good and bad. And that's basically
you have
that
to be wary of them, and you have to acknowledge, and you just have to be aware and in tune, because you don't want to get got. Yeah. Basically. Yeah. You don't want to get got. Yeah.
And all of like most of the research, it has to do with just paying respects to the nature and the spirits.
Respect. That, reading Candy Gourlay's book, Bone Talk, you definitely get the vibe of that, of what Renz is talking about. And even with the dangers and everything, it's almost as if they welcome it.
Yes.
It's not, they're
it's
not
nothing to be scared of.
They're not scared. They're not running away per se. They are living almost in harmony with the good spirits and the bad spirits. And it's just all about respect. It's having this underlying respect for everything, every living thing, even if it's not like a human, because these spirits, they're alive.
They're alive, yeah.
It's another form of life, just not physical. And there's just this tone of respect that's carried throughout the novel, that even in, like talking about it now, you realize like it's just all about respect. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Does that make sense? Yeah.
Which is another big one that I grew up with. As a child, I was taught when you're out at night, especially when there's a lot of like tall trees, anthills, anything like very big on nature, you're supposed to say tabi tabi po, which means excuse me, you're just being polite. Like, it's letting the spirits know, like, I'm just here to walk. I'm just here to pass. I don't mean no disrespect. Please let me through. So that was another big thing that I grew up in a lot in the Philippines.
You know what? Okay, I didn't know that. So I've never heard of that one. But there is just such a... I think my favorite part is just acknowledgement.
Yes.
Of the connectedness we have with nature.
Yes.
That is, to me, like, I feel that, I felt that, even without being raised. Because I think growing up in, like, Western culture, although there are segments of Western culture where now that is welcome, like, of course, with the hippie movement and stuff like that, back in, like, the 60s and 70s, but to me, it feels almost like Western culture, or maybe just I don't even know where that comes from, but it almost feels as if there's a disconnect between humans and nature.
Exactly.
Like, now living in a capitalistic society, everything is disposable. And we function because everything is disposable, and because it's all about like instant gratification. And so there's not really a nod or acknowledgement to nature. Now you kind of do, right? Like, I feel like now there's a big push to become more
outgoing, more
environmentally
just, like,
friendly.
Out, like, try to get connected with nature. But even then, like,
it's so cold.
It is. Like, there are a lot of... Because I see them on Instagram, and people are, like, connecting with nature. But, the difference for me with that and what we did in the Philippines is, like, in the Philippines, we always personified something. That's what it is. So it's, like, it's more than just connecting to nature, because... Don't get me wrong, we do that as Americans. Like, I see it in Western culture. Like, people love to go hiking. People love...
There's tree huggers.
Exactly. Yeah. But I've never heard them talk about it in the sense of, like, we're gonna offend something.
You know what
it is?
Yeah. Yes, that part, yes. But also, that feels like it's counterculture. Right? Like, it's not part of the mainstream culture to be that way, or to have that mindset. To be called like a tree hugger can even be like an insult.
And an insult. Some people might. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, like, the fuck? Like, I could see some people be repulsed by it.
And I think just with what we're talking about, like in the Philippines, it's just such a different vibe, such a different energy.
Everyone embraces it.
Yes.
Everyone won't look at you like, oh, you're crazy.
Yes.
It's just like, oh yeah, that's what you're supposed to be doing.
Mm-hmm.
Like a child is supposed to say tabi tabi. And honestly, it's not just the children, because grown-ups do it too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's like, it's really not just for like one specific group of people who feel
you don't
this
grow
way.
out of it.
It's the whole nation.
Yeah. You don't really grow out of it. Okay.
Which I feel like makes us all really connected, you know, because we all have that belief.
I love that.
Me too.
I know we said it last episode, but I just like was thinking about how I make more sense now.
Yeah.
I feel like I make more sense now, because I remember in like my early 20s really feeling that push, or just this connectedness that I felt with the world,
Mm-hmm.
that I wish everybody else could just stop and breathe and take in for a second,
Mm-hmm.
that I was feeling, because I was like, damn, we are not above or below any other organism anywhere in this universe.
Exactly.
And I just don't know if people live by that.
Mm-hmm.
No, I know that they don't. I know that there are people that don't live by that, and that's okay.
Yeah.
You know, whatever. But
the fact that you find out that your people, your ancestors,
that's what they believed.
It just makes sense.
And now I make sense again.
Yeah, like you feel connected more to just like the nature that you're talking about. You're connected to the whole world.
Yeah.
And not just in this time, but centuries ago. Like, that's a trip. That's a freaking trip. I got goosebumps.
I know. And just to tie it to the podcast, obviously Too Perfect is always going to be about owning your sense of self.
Yeah.
I think when you're really able to do that authentically, it sounds borderline like it's supposed to be about you, but you realize it's not actually about you.
Mm-mm.
And that's what this podcast is. It's not about us. You know, like that's the whole thing. Like that's the whole thing about taking care of yourself and being genuine and authentic and being grateful for yourself. It's not about yourself.
No.
It's about
everything.
Like you are the universe and the universe is you.
Yeah.
And there is no one without the other. And that is like just blowing my fucking mind right now.
Because it's like it's hard to understand yourself when you're just always just reflecting inwardly, I believe. But when you try to connect to other things, when you learn about the whole world, it really just fills in the blanks for you.
Yes.
And I think that's when you become your most authentic self.
Yes.
Because you're not even thinking about, who am I? What am I? You are just being by like, oh, you connect to your past, you connect with your community, and you're like, I make sense. And that's why we keep saying it this whole month, because we never have dived into our history like this.
I'm gonna cry. I feel so emotional. We've only talked about 2 fucking superstitions, and I'm already like, oh my god, that makes sense. Like it's just incredible to feel like it's incredible to feel connected.
Yes.
Is what it is. Because so often we feel so disconnected. I think the emergence of technology and social media, although a big purpose of it was to connect people, on the same hand, it did the exact opposite.
Yes.
It disconnected a lot of people. Yes. And sometimes you need to remind yourself that you are connected.
Yeah. And there's no better way than digging into your culture a little bit. You know? Because honestly, that's what we did. We only dug in like a little bit. We haven't even dove into the deep end, and we already feel like, wow. 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 Wow.
Okay, what else you got?
Okay.
Keep them coming.
Okay, another thing to like not be disrespectful around it, pointing at stuff. Like nature is also a big no-no because they count that as like, oh, you're being disrespectful or you're purposely challenging the entity that lives there. So that's a no-no. And if something does happen to you per se, like let's say a person gets cursed, what you're gonna want to do is call the albulario, which means witch doctor. So a little fun fact about that is when I was young, my parents, let me start over.
Yeah.
So when I was younger, I caught like this really bad rash on my stomach. It was a little like watery. It was like bumps. Like that's never happened to me. I remember it traumatizing me as a child. I remember like touching it and I'm like, ugh, like really being disgusted by it. Other than that, I remember feeling perfectly fine. I wasn't sick or nothing.
Do you remember how you got it?
No.
It just showed up. Okay.
It just showed up. It just showed up out of nowhere, and that's the reason why my mom talked about it with like the elders, with the lolas, and the lola was like, "Yeah, that's not medical. You should bring her to someone." So they called in the albulario, and I just remembered he performed like a small ritual. I don't remember like the whole thing, but I do remember him like using a candle, and then there's like this bowl of water, and he's doing like the candle drippings to have like a reading on what's going on in my body. And I remember him saying stuff that, oh, I think she definitely offended like a capre, which is a really tall tree creature. I think that's what they are. Yeah. So that's what he said. And he gave me like some sort of like antidote to like rub in the rash. And on top of that, I remember him telling my mom, like, oh, you guys have to do like an offering. I don't remember. I think it's probably like we made like a little altar and then there's like food. And like, we just had to pray for and ask for forgiveness, basically, is what the man said. And it worked. I remember it working. And I was just like, wow. Wow, wow, wow.
That's insane.
Right?
I don't know anybody that's ever gone to a witch doctor that I know of.
That they've shared the story with you?
Yeah, comment below if you have any stories dealing with any witch doctors,
shamans.
Email, twoperfectpodcast@gmail.com. Send us your story.
Yeah.
That's...
Because I know there's multiple different ways to do readings, so I'm really intrigued on like
how does it work?
Other ways to communicate or other readings that they have done. Because that's just one way. I remember being fascinated. I remember looking at the bolters like, how does he know?
Yeah.
And I was just being mind blown. And honestly, I'm glad that was something I experienced when I was younger, because I don't know if that's ever going to be a thing for me ever again.
Wow.
I know.
That's pretty cool, though.
But that's very common. I think, there's still places in the Philippines that still really utilize the albalarios. And even when my mom, before she left like the Philippines, she would always have her fortunes read. Like she really believed in that. So we really believe just being in tune with natures and like, yeah. I don't know. I forgot where I was gonna go with that. Had a brain fart.
That's so interesting. I'm gonna ask my parents, how come you never brought me to a witch doctor?
Because you've been okay. You didn't offend nobody. You were good. You were good to go. I
gotta talk to my elders.
Yeah.
And just see what their experiences have been with just, stuff like that. Interesting.
Okay. So those are the ones that I found out about, just like being respectful. The next one that I have on my list is a fun one that I actually also believe. It's when you have itchy paws.
Ooh.
So itchy paws means that money is coming your way, baby. I love that. It's one of the things I still like love to believe in. So one of the things growing, like as I grew up, I realized that, or like there was something that was happening in my brain that I was like, oh, superstitions are not like science based. They don't make sense, quote unquote, because I was assimilating. So to me, I was just like, no, that doesn't really make sense. But there's also some beliefs that I just did not want to get rid of.
Yes.
And that was one of them.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just like, every time my paw is itchy, I'm just like, yes, because it makes me feel good.
Mm-hmm,
so to me, I was just like, wow. I don't know.
You know what? Same here. I also liked, which yes, I love when my palms are itchy because I'm like, I know I'm about to get some money. But the part where you sneeze, I think it's like depending on how many times, right?
You sneeze, yes.
Is it twice or 3 times?
I think it's 3.
3 times. Yeah. If you sneeze 3 in a row, then someone's thinking about you. Also, if you bite yourself, if
someone's
you're like
talking about you,
someone's talking about you. Like, okay, so this is what my mom taught me. If like, let's say I bit myself and I say, give me a number like from the alphabet, and then
that's the letter of the person,
the number that coincides with the letter in the alphabet, then someone with that name, like whose name starts with that letter, someone with that, name is talking about you.
Yeah.
In a good way. Yeah. Like they like you or something. And I was like,
because I remember when my mom would, she would be that way. And she's just like, oh my, one of the things she loves to say is like, oh my God, the people who owe me money are like thinking about me. What the other way around is like, oh man, whoever I owe money is like talking about me. That's what she loves to say, and I just thought was really funny. But on that note of just like the superstition that I thought was like fun growing up too, it's like I remember they told me that if you drop like a fork or a spoon, it means that a guest is arriving. So let's say a spoon fell, that means a female is coming. But there's also like a thing, so if the spoon fell like facing down, that means they're ugly. And if it's facing up, it means they're good looking. That part. And I just always thought, I was just like, wow, we're really like down to the team.
Bro, if you want to meet some guys, just throw some forks. You should have told your friend. Are you trying to meet some boys? I got you, girl. I got you. Oh, they're ugly. They're like, flip it. Like, dang. So that's a little trick if you want to be in control of your destiny. Yeah.
But
no, it has to be an accident.
Also, it has to be an accident because, like, that's how it's from the spirits. It's not from you, B. Yeah. It's from the spirit. It's from the higher
from the gods.
But there is, though, another thing that we do believe in is gayuma, which is when you put a love hex on someone. One of the things my mom loves to talk about, too, in the past is how my dad got her to fall in love with him. Okay. Because, my dad, right? It's like, she was always saying, your dad was like so sprung on me, blah, 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 blah. He always bought me food. And you know what? I think he put like some gayuma in there. So that's why I started to like reciprocate it back. So that's a thing too. I know like that's another thing people go to the albalarios for. They want that love potion.
I did hear about that growing up. I did hear that I truly, legitimately believed there was a love potion out there when I was younger in the Philippines. And you just had to be wary. Like, you don't want to be tricked.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the thing too. It's just like you gotta know that this is love for sure.
Yeah.
And not someone just like putting a potion in your food. So that's another thing that is like kind of cool to, because I forgot. It's funny because it's like, I've been so far removed from it. And, we were talking about it. It's like superstitions. What kind of... I know superstitions, but you're just like, I don't know at that moment. And then you do a little bit of a dive. And even now as we're talking, it's like jogging my memory. Yeah, because like that's not in my notes. It's just like we're talking and I'm like, right. I remember my mom used to tell me all these stories. It's literally information she found out from her elders, passed it to me, and now I'm passing it on to you guys.
If you have any that we don't discuss in this episode, make sure you share.
Yes.
Email us, comment below, whatever you want. One thing that I remember, though, because we're talking about our childhood, I remember during Christmas one year, my brother and I were just like fighting or like playing around or one or the other, probably both. And because that's very common. Yeah. And he purposefully walked, like I was sitting on the floor and my legs were just like out.
Yes.
And he purposefully walked over my legs, which is
a no-no.
Which is a no-no because if you do that, it stunts your growth. And so I got so angry with him and I'm like, you have to walk back now. You have to. Or you're going to stunt my growth. And like I was yelling at him. He eventually walked back, but in my mind, I probably cried, but I was so upset and angry because I literally thought,
like you literally believed
those inches that I was supposed to grow, they're gone.
Yeah.
Because my brother took it away because he walked over my legs. I literally I still believe it to this day. I could have been taller.
Yeah.
And my brother, he did me dirty.
Yeah. No, it's a thing. It's a literal thing. You're not supposed to do that.
You can't walk over someone if they're sitting on the floor. First of all, that's just rude. Walk around. Hello.
Again, I think that's probably where it stems from because at the end of the day, we're all about respect, not just to nature, but to each other. You know what I'm saying? And that's disrespectful. You don't do that.
You don't do that. I think the bottom line is just respect.
Yeah.
For every superstition, it's just respect.
Facts.
Truths. What else you got?
Okay, so there's a couple of things that we do for birthdays. One of the ones I was like talking to you about earlier is this thing called usog, which is a terminology that just describes like you're not supposed to show like a child over fondness because I think there's like this belief that you are stealing away their fortune. Like if you give that baby too much like not attention, but too much praise. Like, oh, they're so good looking. They're so cute. Like that energy that you're pouring into that baby, you are not making space for their future fortunes or whatever like that. Or that energy that you're pouring into that baby can cost them, it's too much for the baby and can cause them illness. I think that's the belief of usog. So that's what they always say, like, you can't do that. Please, the only way to cure usog is to have their saliva be wiped on their forehead. So I remember growing up, my mom would always do that. Or they'll say like, oh, my baby's been crying. I think it's because when my aunt came over, they were just so overjoyed by the baby and the cuteness. So they had to come back and like lick their thumb and then like do the Simba thing in their forehead. And that's how you would cure it.
Wow.
Yeah. And I totally forgot all about that until I read upon it online. And I was just like, yeah, that's still a very common practice in the Philippines.
I just started thinking about my little cousin when he was born. I was around 12 or so, maybe 11, 12, 10, 11, 12, around that age. And I was just so obsessed with him. He was so adorable, so cute. And I was just like, oh my God, like, you're so pretty. And I wonder if that ever turned into anything.
Check up on your cousin.
Hope you're okay. You know, because I don't know, because the way that I look at it, fortune, it could be anything. Health could be anything. It doesn't have to be physical health. It could be mental health. It could be, emotional health. Like, it could be anything.
Could be anything. Yeah.
So, sorry, Jep.
Hope you're okay. If you need, there's still some saliva.
I know. I got you.
You're a grown-ass
Can
person
you do
now.
that? Like, can you?
Yeah, I think you still can.
Can I erase the...
Yeah,
oh my
yeah,
God.
you can. There's still time. Is what I learned from Bone Talk.
Yeah. What else you got?
Another one about birthdays is, this is very common knowledge and very true to every Filipino, is having like pancit or anything long strands,
noodles,
because it's gonna equal to long life. So every birthday party that you go to, there's always gonna be noodles.
Yeah. I remember also for New Year's, you're supposed to have 12 fruits.
Yes.
12 fruits on the table for the fiesta, for the gathering, to have like a prosperous year.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's specifically
we still
like
do that.
12. Every New Year, 12 circular fruits. You have to count it. Has to be there
in a bowl.
Yeah, no one eats it.
No, it's just there.
It's just there. Just to look at. It's honestly, it's offerings to the gods.
Yeah.
It's what it is. To ask for, let this be prosperous, as he said.
My mom also told me, because I asked her, I saw her for lunch the other day, and I was like, hey, what are some Filipino like superstitions? And she couldn't remember any.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard when you ask them on the spot.
I don't remember anymore. I'm like, what? And she said she does faintly remember something with my tita. She would like hang grapes or like...
Yeah.
Oh, you okay?
We do it too.
What is it? My mom didn't know what it was for.
I think it's kind of like similar. It's just like good vibes, prosperity.
Yeah.
I didn't know what it's for, but I always saw it as an equivalent of like a mistletoe, but we don't kiss under it. It's just like, it's just there because my family does it too, but I don't know what it's for. Yeah.
We gotta look into that.
Yeah.
Comment below. Email us. Do you know why do we hang grapes?
Yeah.
And why grapes?
It's abundant.
I don't know.
Apparently we don't know. So just let us know, please. Last thing I have for birthdays is that when you give someone like wallets or like a little purse bag, you always have to include money in it. Like you can't just give like a wallet and that's it. You have to put like at least $1. And that signifies like more wealth coming in. Like there's going to be wealth coming in your life, because if it's just an empty wallet, it's like no wealth's coming in your life. Yeah. So
is that related to like, is that somehow related to, with Tupperware? You're not supposed to give empty Tupperware
back.
You're supposed to include something in the Tupperware.
Yeah.
Is that like a thing? Is that...
Maybe.
What cultures follow that? Comment below. Like, what is that? Just a Filipino thing? Is that...
I don't know.
I know my mom
honestly
thinks that.
Yeah, that's why it's so hard when you ask people like superstitions, because I feel like they have to think of like really quirky ones, but in reality it's very subtle, minute stuff too, like that. Like I also don't know, but there's something about me, like I can't just give like an empty Tupperware bag. It's always like, oh, here's your old Tupperware, and I also put cookies in there.
Yep. So that's a course meal in there.
Yeah. And that's the reason why, if I still have your Tupperware, it's because there was no food I could put in.
I couldn't find something to put in there. I didn't want to make anything, so that's why I have it still.
So the best case scenario is like, I'll wait till I have something and then I'll give them back their Tupperware.
That part. Yep.
So to answer your question, I don't know where it's from, the origins. If you guys know, please let us know so we would know.
Interesting. That just reminds me of the thing that Neil said with how...
the money?
Yeah, he said that it's a superstition that his mom follows, where you're not supposed to give money at night. You're supposed to give money...
in the morning.
In the morning only.
Yeah.
And once it's nighttime, it's like, don't give don't give money. Don't receive any money either. Like, if someone's trying to give you money, like, you should turn it down. Just give it to me tomorrow morning. I don't know why, but that's, like, a thing you're supposed to do. Maybe also for prosperity.
Yeah. That's what I always kind of tie it into. Money or food, it's always going to be for prosperity. But also, I don't know, because I'm just assuming that.
Yeah, we have to fill in the blanks because we have been colonized and disconnected from the truths and beliefs of our ancestors.
Unfortunately. Yeah. But that's what this is all about, right? That's why I love that
Uncovering truths.
Uncovering truths? Yes. And then, like, when we did the seminar thing 2 weeks ago, and how they're saying every documentation is valid because we're all historians.
Yeah.
We're all just documenting everything. This is a new wave documentation, baby.
That part. We are historians. There you go.
Yep. So, again, that's why it's important, you said, to just fill in the blanks. This is what we know. What do you guys know?
And we will try to collect and honor our past for the future.
Yes.
Let's go.
I love that.
So that's all celebratory.
Yeah. The next one is like some marriage stuff.
Yeah.
I know one of it is like you're not supposed to try on your wedding dress at all. Yeah. Like they believe...
Before you get it?
No, actually, I think just on the day of. Like, it's fine. You could like fit it to see if it fits you. But on the day of, you're not supposed to try it on until like you're ready. Because it means that the union will be canceled or something. And that's something I actually remembered back then that I forgot that I knew. And I was just like...
So you're telling me, okay, so when you're buying a wedding dress, you can go and like fit dresses and stuff and like select it. But on the day of your actual wedding, you should not just try it on for funsies.
Yeah.
Like you should be
not
ready.
For fun.
Yeah, you should be ready to get married and then go ahead and put it on and like walk down the aisle.
I think it's probably like the intent, right? It's again paving way for respect. Like this gown or the attire that you're wearing is not just for fun, it's for a ceremony. It's sacred.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably like...
Don't taint the ceremony.
Exactly. It's like, don't do it just for shits and giggles.
Yeah.
Like,
we're serious here.
Yes. Yeah. So that's one thing I forgot, and I was just like, you're right.
I didn't know that one.
Yeah. And then like another marriage thing that I knew because of a movie is called Sukob. And it's when two siblings can't marry at the same year. So like, let's say you and your sister want to get married. Unfortunately, not at the same time. You guys could do it next year after.
Yeah.
Just in case. Even your brother. Anyone. And I did not know that. I was just like, that's weird. Why? And then apparently it's because they believe that if you guys married on the same year, you're dividing the fortune of the family.
Oh. Yeah. Because we're all connected.
Yeah, we're all connected. So it's like the gods are like, they're blessing them like at the same time. So it's literally being divided into two households. So they're like, that's why don't do it. Do it the next year. So that way the gods will bless this family. And then the next year they'll bless that family.
Because we really are connected.
Yup.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. And then I know it got turned into like a Filipino movie back in like the early 2000s. It became like a horror movie because that's another thing they said, that if you do get married on the same year...
I'm thinking it's like a rom-com or like a romance.
It's scary. Okay. Misfortune. Not only will your thing be divided into two, it could also lead to misfortune. And that's why it became like... a horror movie because each of their families started dying off. Yeah, because they did not know they were sisters and they got married at the same year, unfortunately.
Well, how are they supposed to know? They didn't even know. So they're basically destined for disaster.
The gods don't care if you knew or not know. It's just, you were supposed to know.
What about your spiritual brothers and sisters. Like, you know, in the book, like in Bone Talk, some god had a spiritual brother.
Yeah. Ooh, that's interesting too.
It's just you have no control.
You really don't. And that's what our ancestors believed anyway, that we have no control of our lives. And that's why we have to abide by these rules. It's the only control they had. And then one last thing I have for marriage is I thought I had one more, but it's not here. What is it?
What does it pertain to?
I think it had something to do with the husband dying, to be honest. Yeah, I can't remember, but it had something to do with like the husband dying, but I can't remember. Oh, I think I remember now. Actually, this is not during marriage. I just remember hearing this growing up because I have moles right here. So basically, I know moles have significance. It kind of says something about that person. So when your moles are by your tear ducts, it means you're going to be widowed. Like, that's your destiny. And I was just like, I remember thinking that.
Don't marry Jackie.
No, for real.
Don't get married.
Just never get married, right? Like, that's the loophole.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember people, like, you know, in your family members saying, like, oh my God, no. Like,
what if you get it removed? What if you get it removed?
We gotta dig deep into this. So many questions.
Call the elders. Right? Call the elders. Elders, please.
Does that mean like, you know, that's the one? So it's like, what if I marry some loser that I want dead and be like, marry me? Then we're good. And then I'm good to marry Jackie, right? I don't know. Gotta do the research.
So it's just whoever you marry.
Yeah. Yeah, but I remember that. And I remember, like, you know, as a child and, like, the elders are, like, saying that. I remember being, like, traumatized because, like, you know, I'm very much of a hopeless romantic as a child. So I'm like, what? You're telling me that I've been looking forward to meeting someone only for them to die eventually? How tragic!
That's super tragic.
Some of the mole meanings too, it's just like, oh, if it's like by the mouth, it means they're very talkative. They don't know how to shut up.
I think I have one.
Yeah, and then like on the head, it means you're gonna be super smart. You're gonna be in the academics and stuff.
Oh, really? Yeah. I have one.
So those are the three.
I have one on my foot.
Oh, it means you loved adventure. Yeah.
Me, my brother, my sister all have the same mole on our foot.
Wow.
I know. Me and my dad have a mole behind our knee. What does that mean?
I think that's probably close. Like anything close to like the feet. Or like you guys are adventurous. You guys don't want to be sitting down. You guys want to travel.
We want to go. Yeah. Which is facts.
Yeah.
We do. We want to go.
I know, you just booked 2 flights to go travel, you girl. And then
living my destiny.
I'm living it. I'm living up to it.
Living up to who I'm supposed to
be. Every time when you ask yourself, should I go to this adventure? The answer is yes, because your ancestor said so. It's who you are.
That part.
Yeah. Another thing that, like, are you checking for moles? Yes. Yeah, if you guys are not watching the visuals, she just pulled up her phone to look at her face to check for moles. But another thing that's similar to moles are your birthmarks. They also means you got good eyesight. Because it's not in your tear duct, it's by your eye. Because like none of us see everything.
I have a third eye. Wow.
So like another thing that kind of scarred me growing up was talking about the placements of birthmarks.
Yeah.
Because they says like, oh, if you have birthmark like by like by your legs, like around like your private area or like by your butt or something like that, it means that you're gonna be a very unfortunate child. Yeah, like like you're just gonna be
Unfortunate.
bad luck. Like bad luck's just gonna follow you. I remember being told that, and I'm like, does this count? Because it's like by my leg, but it's
Yeah.
also in like that area, and I remember like freaking out about it when I was
So
young.
does it count?
I don't know. I always thought it
Oh,
counted.
you didn't ask? Oh.
I don't remember. I don't remember if I asked. I think they say counts like that, and that's why they say like that's what like malas, and that means like unfortunate,
Mhm.
and that's why when I was a child and a lot of unfortunate things were happening to me, I just believed that I was an unfortunate child. Like that's just who I was.
Aww.
Yeah. So that's why it's just like
I never knew this about her.
No, for real, because I don't share it often. Because again, like I didn't talk about like superstitions. I just kind of like kept them for me, either A, to terrorize myself, or B, to make myself happy. Because either one or the other.
Yeah, there's good ones and bad ones. Yeah.
So that was one thing that I was just like, what? I'm an unfortunate baby. Like bad luck's gonna follow me. But it's okay. There are ways to counter it. There's ways to like improve your luck. I don't know any, but there are ways. No one told me how to counteract them.
Are you kidding?
They just let me live my life. I feel like these are like just some information they knew, but they can't trail back like how or even what to do. Yeah, because again, the information is lost. So I always thought it's like, okay, that's just who I am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dang. I don't know any bad luck ones.
I know. I'm like trying to think some more.
Yeah.
I can't.
Is that all for... How do we get into birthmarks and moles?
Oh, because I was talking about like marriage stuff.
Oh, marriage.
And I was like, I know there was one more that would lead to like the husband's death, but I forgot what it was, but it was the moles. So then we just started talking about all like the markings in our body. So
when they say widow, does that mean just like widow, like your spouse is going to pass away, you're never going to marry again?
No, that's why I'm saying I don't know. I think it's like depending on how many moles you have, that's how many like divorce or like widows you're gonna be or something like that. And you know what I was just thinking about, because like you're saying like what if we remove them, does it count? And maybe that's why we tattoo people, because like you know how you were saying like tattoos are not just to signify like the warriors and stuff. Sometimes if there's like bad omens in your family, they will protect you by adding on tattoos. It protects you from spirits and stuff like that. Yeah, so maybe that is the counter to having that mole that you don't want to be true. That birthmark that I don't want happening on, like, that label that I don't want onto me.
Tattoo.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. Like, maybe that's how they countered it back in the day, just by patching it on with something else.
I was just trying to see if my Lolo had... I just pulled up a picture. It's too blurry, so I can't see. If he had, like, a mole like, near his... tear ducts, because he was a widow.
Yeah.
So
to see like if there's some truth to it.
Yeah. Maybe my Lola too. I should look. Yeah. She's also a widow, but
yeah, it's just interesting. I just remember that being as a child, and I'm just like, what? I don't even know them, and they're gonna die just because they're with me. Awful.
Also, though, you can look at it on the other way. If you fall in love with someone and you notice that they have a mole,
you're like, stay away. First of all,
I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to break up with you.
No, you gotta come back around here.
No. You look for them like, oh, you don't have a mole in your... Okay, no, we can't work out. So I'm trying to die.
No, bitch. Yeah.
I'm trying to peace out, so...
Like on your freaking wedding day, it's like, yes, happiest time of my life. This is the best way to go.
I know.
Keep it on the high.
That's how I want to go out in love.
Okay, on the subject of death and dying, there's also funeral stuff, which is next. The first one is a deceased family member shouldn't drop off their guests onto their doorsteps, because it means that they are dropping them off to their death.
Wait, a what?
So a family who just recently lost someone should not be walking their guests to the doorstep.
Oh,
Yeah.
otherwise what happens?
Otherwise, it means that they're dropping off their guests to their death.
So like if let's say
Mm-hmm.
someone's sibling just passed
Mhm.
away and we visit that person, they should not walk us out their door?
Yeah.
Oh, so
Yeah.
they stay in the room.
Stay in the room, stay in the house, do what you ever doing.
I'm walking out on my own.
Yeah. Because as you know, that's a very common like Filipino thing. It's like, oh, let
You
me
walk
walk you
people
out.
out,
Like,
yeah.
thanks for coming as they walk you
And
out
then
the
it takes
door.
an hour to get out the house because Filipinos, we be talking up a storm. What are we even talking about? It's like, we can talk.
We can talk. I mean,
Clearly.
I was going to say, it's like, you know how long we talk before we start recording, girl? And then how long we can talk
This
after
podcast
that.
is actually 7 hours long.
You guys just don't even know.
You don't have access to the first 6 hours. That's the reality.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, so that's one thing. And I was just like, oh, I haven't been to like a lot of funerals since I've been in the States, so I don't really know.
Mm-hmm.
And then another one is that you're not supposed to take food home from funerals. So like no baons.
Which is very different from how
usually
Filipinos are.
Yeah.
When you go to someone's house, when
Yeah.
there's a party, a fiesta or something, you take food home
All the
single time.
You cannot say no to tita. There's already a plate ready for you, honestly.
Yeah. It's like, oh, you're leaving? Okay, let's get you, what do you want? Let's get you your bao. Let's get you your food to take home. Because that's just how we are.
And just to give a little background, that's just how it is, like the Philippine traditional funeral. It's a spectacle.
Yes.
Like, it's not... I mean, yes, it's sad because obviously people are mourning.
Yeah.
But there's actually some festivities I've been to, like way back when my lolo died. I know people were playing bingo.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's supposed to just... Because I think the more you cry, the more there are grieving. There's a belief that you're tethering that soul. Like, they can't move forward because they're watching you grieving. So... to counteract like the grievance, there's also some joy happening around. So I remember that. I remember Filipino funerals. It's like it's a very...
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Okay, so when my lolo passed away, I was either 5 or 6 years old.
Yeah.
I was 5. Yeah, because he passed away in 1997. So I was 5 years old, and I was so torn up about it. I didn't know at the time how much it really affected me, but I cried my eyes out, and even the following years after, I thought about him a lot. Every now and again, he would just come into my memory, and I would miss him a lot.
Yeah.
And I would feel so emotionally distraught over it. But I really felt his presence.
Oh.
And maybe me feeling so torn and grieving so hard about his death.
It's calling to his spirit.
Calling to him. And I literally, seriously, I felt him in the room with me.
Yeah.
Like, I truly, truly believed that he was with me. Like, I felt his presence.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you ever had that experience where, or if you ever had that experience where, like, you feel a spirit around. It's a real ass fucking feeling.
It's a feeling, yeah.
And that would happen to me when I would grieve really hard about his death. Yeah. And you talking about that, I was just like I was reminded of the times that, because it was actually difficult for me to process. I didn't know it at the time because I was so young.
That's what you were going through.
I was going through the motion. I was going through it, and I didn't even know. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's crazy.
Did you ever experience, because like, you know, funerals in the Philippines is a whole thing. Mm-hmm. We carry the casket all the way to like the burial site. Mm-hmm. Did you ever experience being, what's that? Basically being carried over the casket before they close it?
What do you mean being carried over?
So, I remember this happening to me twice when my grandfather died and my grandmother died. they had the kids come, and basically there's like, 2 adults on each side of the casket right before they put it into the burial site. They just pass the kid from one person to the other, so you're kind of like hopping over the casket itself.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
What does that signify?
I have no idea. I just thought about it just now.
I don't think so. I actually, the parts that I do remember of my grandfather's passing is very vivid.
That's trauma, baby.
I just remember the feeling and like have the layout of everything. It's coming back to me as if like I'm actually
You're there. Yeah.
So, but I don't remember that part.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that was like a thing that we did.
Yeah. I don't know the significance of that or what it symbolizes, but I just remembered being carried over the casket. I think it has something to do with like looking over the youth or something. I'm not really sure. I could be making that up, so take it with a grain of salt. Like, let me know if you know, because I don't know. But I just remember that feeling, and I was just like, oh, okay, go ahead. Do what
because what you want to say no?
I can't. You literally cannot say no. You just have to.
You can say no to your elders.
That's crazy talk.
Even now, I can't say no to my parents. It's very.
That's crazy.
I don't even. I mean, I'm sure I turn things down, but no is never the word that I use. Yeah. Like, I think of other words to say no to my parents if I have to say no to them.
That's why I was just like, what's no in Tagalog? No. Hindi. Wag.
There is never going to be a moment in my life where I would say those words to my parents.
Yeah.
I'm going to think of I'm going to do a roundabout way to say no to something. Yeah. Like, oh, I have to do this. Of course. So that's like not saying no, but it's showing them I have another obligation or I have to.
Of course.
You know what I mean? Because
you literally cannot.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Interesting. And I think I have one more for funeral, which is what we talked about with Neil. I think the pagpag, which means to shake it off. Which just means like when you come to a funeral, you're not supposed to go straight home. You're supposed to go somewhere else in between to try and shake off the spirits and they don't follow you home. So if you ever want that spirit to go to someone else's house, you go to that person's house first.
Bro, I didn't even think about that. Like, man, fuck this bitch. She never gave me my money back.
Imagine and be like,
pull up. Yeah.
I'm gonna tell you, it's like, hey, you know what? I hate this bitch. So when I die, can you go to their house first before you go home? Because I want to haunt that bitch.
Oh.
I want to be there.
Don't get on our bad side.
Nah, I'm just kidding.
Because we'll drop some spirits on your ass. We'll wait at a cemetery for a funeral. Go show up to the funeral, pay respects.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm so sorry. My condolences. And then leave and then
say, can I come over? Real quick.
Oh, you're not home? Yeah, I'll wait.
I'm outside your house, so I'll be here whenever you come home. But no, I'm just kidding. That is a thing though, and I do remember that with my mom, or it's just like, no, we have to stop by somewhere. I think we went to the mall. So it's like it's a very neutral ground. It's no one's house, you know.
Everyone at the mall is haunted. Let's go to SM.
No, for real. But honestly, also that's another. Because we're talking about SM, there's also like superstition. Yeah, it is. It's called Super Mall
in the Philippines. If you're not familiar, yeah.
But there are also like there's 2 different kinds of big malls in the Philippines, right? SM and Robinson's May.
Yes,
those were the 2 big ones. And I remember there's also like like an urban legend. I think it's Robinson's May, where they said it's like, oh, actually, like the person, Robinson or whoever, has a big pet snake. And it lives, that's why like the S looks like that, because it's actually the big snake. And it ate him, or it eats like their midnight guests or something like that. And I just remember
I've
being
never
told that
heard
as
of
a
this.
child. Yeah. There's just so many ones. And then because like, you know, a part of superstition is also to instill fear to the kids, that way they don't wander out late at night, and they're just safer because, you know, darkness is the enemy. And by darkness, I mean just like nighttime, because it's harder to see, so it's harder to survive when
Not people.
back in the day. Yeah, just to clarify what I mean. It's just back in the day when it's dark outside, you're less likely to survive.
Understand.
Yeah,
we're pulling superstitions from tribal natives of the Philippines, so they're not living, you know, in these city-like
cities where
places.
there's street lights.
Yeah, they don't have that. It's like pitch black dark. So that's when animals come out, and you know, things just creep around that can kill you. And neighboring tribes, rival tribes can be out there to kill you. So that's why she was saying that. Yeah.
Because like honestly, it's just a way to get the kids to, you know, behave and make sure they're not like wandering about. Because, and even then, even as times progress, and in modern day in Philippines, it's still a thing to scare kids from playing late at night. It's like, you know, say, I remember my mom saying like, yeah, you can get kidnapped by, and it's not by people. She's always talking about like the spirits or the creatures. And I think there's also just like an urban legend of like back in the day, they would used to build bridges with like kids' bones, because it made the bridge like really strong or something like that.
I have never heard of that before. Kids' bones, like actual bones of kids.
Yeah. And then they would add like the blood in the cement, and that's like a way to make the foundation really strong. I don't know the truth to it. I just remember my mom telling me that, and we live by a bridge. So I'm like, oh, I'm definitely not going out. That's
terrifying.
That's how she raised an introvert who never left the house.
That's terrifying.
Told me this story. Yeah.
Basically, don't die. Don't put yourself in a situation where you can die. Because guess what? Your bones are sought after.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Oh my god. Spooky season. What's up?
Yep.
All right. What other superstitions do you have?
Okay. The next one is the New Year. Earlier, we already talked about the 12 circular fruits to welcome in the New Year. But on top of that is the one we were also talking about earlier with Neil, which was jumping at midnight. Yeah, so we believe that when it strikes a new year, you're supposed to jump in glee, and that's supposed to help you grow.
You have to do it when the year officially starts, but also I wanted to say that I actually brought this up to my family when I saw them a couple days ago, and my brother knew that. He said, "Oh yeah, I did it every year." I was like,
"That's why he's the tallest one."
Kidding me? He's like, "Yeah, that's why I'm so tall." I'm like, "How come I didn't do it?
Yeah.
How come I don't have any recollection of doing that?
Yeah.
Like, did I not care?
Yeah.
Like, maybe I didn't care."
Yeah, and that's why I got lost. That's why you didn't grow as tall as your brother, bro.
I wish.
Yeah, that's still something that I participate in just because it's still fun, and you never know.
I'm gonna still do it. I'm gonna try now. This upcoming New Year, I'm jumping. I'm jumping up and down.
Yeah! First of all, we're gonna do it.
Bro, you on the cloud. You already know. I'm gonna be jumping up and down. I'll be like, I hope I grow. Yeah. Because, you know,
it's never too late.
It's never, yeah.
You're always.
There's no cutoff, right?
I don't know. Supposedly for the kids, but you know, I haven't stopped. I do it every year. At this point, it's just tradition.
Anyway, I'm still a kid. Mentally, I'm like 12.
So again, we never got our tribal tattoos, so we definitely be
I'm
still
not even
kids.
a real woman yet. You don't see any tattoos on my arms, not the tribal ones. No,
the ones that count.
Yeah. So
it's still, there's still room for that.
Mm-hmm. But really though, we should plan a trip to the Philippines together.
Yes.
When we do the research and find out more about just our lineage, our ancestors, and if we can trace back to, any connection of like tribes. And we figure out like what their tattoos are.
Yeah, the process and what they actually get specifically.
Yeah, yes. And then we can go back.
That's gonna be a journey.
10 years from now, I think. I think when we're 40.
Ooh. TBD.
35?
We'll let you know. Tomorrow? TBD.
I know, after 40, you're like, that's too long.
That is too long. We'll do it again at 40.
That part. Yeah, okay.
It's a life journey.
Okay, 33, 32, 31.
Every year? Who knows? My dad will always go home every chance he can get. He's so sad about like the whole corona pandemic thing because it's honestly the only thing that stopped him from going home.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, another one that I have is if you open an umbrella indoors, that's bad luck, baby.
Oh, I know that one. Yeah, you're not supposed to. Is that only for Filipinos?
Maybe it's multicultural. But I remember being like nagged by my mom because like I remember having this cute pink like umbrella and then I opened it in the house and I was like twirling around because I was just trying to be cute and she's like, Hoy! Stop! Tama na!
I'm gonna post an Instagram question and I'm going to ask
if that's relevant to their culture as well. I would love to know.
Yes.
Please
do you
answer.
Guys okay, what else do you have though?
Yeah, hold on.
Because for me, you saying that, it feels like, oh yeah, for sure. Like I would never open an umbrella indoors.
Yeah.
To me, it was told so many times
that it's just a thing.
It's just a thing that I feel is so true.
Yeah.
But now that I think about it, maybe other people don't even think about that.
Yeah.
Like maybe people, they just...
Do you know what that signifies?
No, I don't.
So, obviously, we said that it's bad luck. And the reason why it's bad luck is because you're basically putting in a barrier between you and your guardian. And you could offend them by doing that. And that's what's going to cause the bad luck.
Wait, you're offending who?
Your guardians. Because, like, they're looking over you. And when you open, like, something, they're going to be like, what the fuck? Rude. I was looking out for you until this moment.
Okay, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
What else?
This one I thought was super funny. It's also a thing my mom practiced, but if you get a fishbone stuck on your throat, they call it, I forgot what it's called, actually, never mind. But let's say there's a fishbone and it's on your throat. What you're supposed to do is you're supposed to look for a cat and then use their paw to kind of like help push down the tinik, which is the fishbone. And my mom actually did that and it worked. She swears by it.
But why? Why?
I don't know. I don't know the reasoning, but to them it's just like the cat just has like that natural like order with like the fish that it can help guide it down.
I've never heard of that before.
Really?
Is there like a significant, like is there something to that?
I don't know. It's just a thing that I saw quickly. It's just like something that we all believe in. I don't know the background in it. I just also remember my mom says like, yeah, if you have like tinik on your throat, like you just need a cat. And I'm like, how? And she's like, I don't know. You just use their paw and it's supposed to help it get unstuck. And I'm just like, what are the logistics? But she's like, basta, which is just like it is what it is.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I know there's like one more because I saw it online. There's 2 ways to get rid of the fishbone. One is the cat paw. The other one is something else. I didn't write it down. I already forgot it. So if you know, please let me know. And if you guys have tried it, does it work? Because that's what they believe.
Wait, so just to, I'm posting the question right now on my Instagram, but like just to go back to the umbrella thing.
Yeah.
I remember that it was bad luck. Mm-hmm. That opening up an umbrella will bring you bad luck. Mm-hmm. And that's because you offended
your guardians.
Interesting. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Continue, please.
The next one is, I remember this also being applicable to me because back then I think I put on a shirt and it was inside out. And you're also not supposed to do that because you're going to get lost. Like, you're just not going to know the right direction, is what my mom told me.
Wait, what is it?
When you wear something inside out,
you're
not supposed to do that or else you're just going to be lost. I think she meant it directionally, but I think it also applies like figuratively in life, spiritually. You're just at loss. Okay. I think I've been wearing all my life inside out.
I know, right? True.
Yeah, I just remember her saying that, and I was just like, what? But this is fashion? No, I'm just kidding. Another thing that I remember her telling me, because this was when I used to live with my family and I wanted to rearrange my room. And I wanted my bed to face like a certain way. And my mom was like, oh, you're not supposed to do that because the way I was talking about it is like I had my bed, the foot of the bed facing towards the door.
I know that one.
Yeah. So you're not supposed to do that because I think it's like welcoming death.
Wait. You're supposed to face the bed. Like you're not.
Like the foot of the bed is not facing the door.
Like how this straight. Is?
No.
The other way.
Let's say this is where your bed is.
Yes.
That's the no.
Oh, okay.
So basically Jackie's room. Because I think they're saying like it's kind of like the way the coffin is like, that's how they see it. It's like foot towards death or something like that. That's what my mom told me, and I was just like, what? And now I kind of wonder if that ties into like feng shui, like if there's a reasoning to that. I've never really looked into feng shui like that, but kind of curious if there's anything. Because again, like, we're a modge podge of beliefs, so I was like, I wonder if that has something to do with like the Chinese influence. Don't know. Another one that I have, which was also very applicable to me when I was a child because I was like a slow eater, is you're not supposed to clean up when someone else is eating because it's basically signifying like you're gonna be unmarried. You're gonna be left behind and no one's gonna marry you. That's what they believed, and I was just like, what? All right. So I remember being very offended when people would clean up while I'm eating.
You know what? Same too, though. Because that, like, I mean, that is kind of rude.
It's rude.
Yeah.
Respect. Again, it's all about respect. Like, you clean up after everyone's done. But speaking of plates, someone else told me that the plate is a parallel to your crush or to like your significant other.
What?
Yeah, so I think this is just a way for them to get the kids to like really finish their food. Basically, the belief is that when you have a clean plate, then your husband or your wife will be flawless. They'll be handsome. But if there's like specks of like rice here and there, that's gonna be put on their face. Like the remaining will be put on their face.
Finish your food.
That's basically what they're trying to say. Finish your food. I do remember when I was a child, there was this show that it centered around just like superstitions, myths, and beliefs that we had, and they would like package it for kids to teach them like the moral of the story. One of the things that really stuck to me in an episode was about a kid getting stuck in the rice cooker.
That's a big rice cooker.
It is. I think it's about like a picky eater. He doesn't like to eat. And one day he just woke up in the middle of the rice cooker. Like he's like a tiny little thing and he's like stuck and he's like suffering. And the only way to get out is like to eat through it. I don't know the moral of the story. I don't know.
Clearly it wasn't good because I think the moral.
I think the moral is eat your food. Like they're trying to, get kids to make sure they get their nutritional value. Probably. I think that's the message because it was about like a picky eater not eating and the only way to get out of the rice cooker is to eat. I don't know what the show is called.
That's so funny.
But if you guys know what I'm talking about, please link me because it still haunts me in my sleep.
There's a lot of myths we didn't go over.
I know. We just talked about the superstition.
But there are a lot of mythical creatures and mythological stories, beings,
which we kind of like touched upon a little bit in the beginning when we were talking about like how to be respectful to the creatures and like there's beings and spirits and stuff. So next time we should definitely talk about the mythology itself.
Yes.
If you guys want to hear about that and are curious, let us know. So we can cover it.
Let us know.
But let's be real, we're going to cover it regardless. Eventually.
I know.
Whether you say
next Filipino American History Month,
it's definitely going to come your way.
Yeah. Honestly, I love talking about all of this. Just this whole month was so fun and refreshing. It really, I mean, just in general, doing this podcast is fun and refreshing. Yeah. But specifically this month, it was different.
Wow, you guys.
It was different.
It was. I felt it too. Yeah.
Is it because we are so removed from our Filipino-ness? I remember when we talked about, or when we went, or what are words? When we went, where did we go? When we were at the Filipino American History Month
seminar.
The seminar. We did the breakout sessions. That was so fun. And we got really personal so we did 3 breakout sessions and my first breakout session was with 4 people and then the next one was 5 people and then the next one was 6 people because people just kept like dropping off.
Yeah, and so, then eventually it's like the one that did stay.
Yeah, exactly. They have to like, make sure the rooms are divided equally. Yeah. But so those gave us opportunities. They gave us like questions to answer and go over. And, of course, it's going to be introspective. There are going to be questions that really take us, in a space where we think about our Filipino Americanness.
Yes.
And somebody talked about in my group about Filipinos kind of teetering on that not being Filipino enough and not being American enough. And that is such a common feeling we all go through.
Yeah.
Being Filipino American because there's so much baggage that you carry when you assimilate into another culture.
Yes.
And it really makes you question your identity.
Yes.
Your whole life, and these are adults. These are people, like in my room, we had people in their 50s, 40s, 60s. And so you really see just the universality of that
Like, it's not just you.
experience.
It's not just you.
It's not because you're
being young. Yeah.
It's not because you're naive. It is just an experience that we all have to go through. And
especially when it's not like talked about it enough.
Yes.
There's no communication about how we all feel this way.
Yes.
So you feel like, oh, maybe this is just me. Maybe other people don't feel this way.
Yeah.
So you just let it happen, and everyone just keeps letting it happen.
Because you can live your life that way, but, you know, when you have a great opportunity where there's space to divulge into, like, how you feel on the inside, and you unpack it, and you realize you're not alone. And that's what this month has really felt like. Doing these episodes, you get to tackle just this buried part of yourself that you never got the opportunity to share, or that I never got the opportunity to share and talk about. And now that it's like Pandora's box. It's like now it's open.
Really is.
Now it's like I want to talk about it all the freaking
time. That's why, you know, we are on this book tour, and by me book tour, it's just us reading books written by our people.
Yeah.
It's so wholesome.
It is so liberating, refreshing, connecting, and grounding. It's so important, and it is such like there's a word for it.
Yeah.
It is such an experience. It's such an insane experience to go through.
Yeah.
And if I think of the word, maybe I'll comment below.
Yeah, you will do it as you are editing this, and you're
know.
This is what you
This is what you meant. Happens all the time.
I remember when I was going through my self-branding, right? I was conflicted of how much I wanted to incorporate my identity tied into my culture, because I wanted to reflect that. And, you know, us just
your
talking,
Filipino-ness.
My Filipino-ness, but I wasn't sure. I remember talking about this with another designer, and I was just like, I don't know if that's a cop-out, because I'm just letting that identify me. Is that even what I'm supposed to be represent, or is that even what it should be reflected on?
Yeah.
But if that's how I feel, then why not?
That's who you are, yeah.
And now it's just like, you know what? Doing this segment of our podcast, I just want to create like work that will speak to me, and hopefully will speak to our people.
Yeah. That can relate.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And give that same feeling to the next person who might feel lost. You know?
It's like giving a nod to those that feel like they're not supposed to own their sense of like Filipino-ness.
Yeah.
And whether they're not sure or just uncertain about it, and they see that, they're like, yeah, actually I can be proud,
be a part of
and
this.
I can, you know, I can wear it proudly, and I can be around people who wear it proudly too. If that makes sense. Hopefully it does. It does in my head.
It makes sense to me, but you know.
But yeah, I hope you guys really enjoyed this segment. Yep. No, I just was thinking, like, of course I want to keep doing topics in relation to Filipino American or just culture, and I don't want to have to wait till the next October.
No, we don't have to. I think we could do some in December, because honestly, that's another big month for Filipinos.
Yes.
So we could talk about like Christmas stuff, the holidays, because still very topical.
Yeah, I agree.
Hey. I'm just kidding.
Do you have any final notes for Filipino superstitions? We didn't talk about, like, okay, fuck. God damn it.
Dang it.
Okay. I remember this one time where we went, it was like, I don't know if we were looking for something scary, but we were in the car. I don't remember whose car it was, but you were there, Dana. Me.
Yeah.
Was it Anissa? There was someone else there.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure there was 4 of us, or maybe it was just us 3. I don't know. But we were in like a creepy area, spirits, like, I don't know, around maybe a cemetery. I don't know where we were. And we were like creeping each other out, and we were getting really scared. And then when we were leaving, we were like, okay, it's time to fucking go. Like, this is getting like too creepy.
Too much.
And Dana was like, okay, when you go home, make sure you turn on your stove or turn on a lighter to ward off the evil spirits. And I was like, what? She's like, yeah. Dana would have been a good one.
I guess.
Yeah. Because I know she knows your Filipino superstitions.
Does.
Yeah. But that's something, I knew there was something that
we were forgetting when we were talking about it. Yeah.
What did I miss? Yeah, that one. I remember that one in high school. But that was the first time I ever heard it. But we actually do have a lot. We just have a lot to ward off spirits in general. To acknowledge your spirits, to ward off evil spirits. Spirits.
Just don't mess with them.
Yeah. Respect. Yeah. But that's it. Bye, guys.
For real. This one's long. Thanks for sticking through it, you guys.
I know, right? Any final notes?
Nope.
No, that's it. Well, if you guys enjoy this, make sure you share it with your friends and family. If you have any Filipino superstitions you want to share, or not even Filipino, just any kind of superstitions that you have.
Yes, because maybe it's the same. Maybe there's a link there.
I watched Netflix docuseries about a murder that happened in Ireland, and I know in Ireland, you know, where it happened, there are a lot of like superstitions and like stuff like that the people in that town really believe in. So for sure, beliefs like that, it's not just for Filipinos.
Yeah,
it goes across the world.
Yeah.
Yes. Our ancestors were just really in tune. Yep. So share with us. I want to learn. I want to be educated, and hopefully you learn something too. And on top of that, I hope you are loving yourself, being genuine with yourself, being authentic, finding out things about yourself, pursuing more knowledge, and we'll see you next Tuesday. Peace out. Dude, we had that shit in. We had that shit
You know it.
Peace.